Mike Renner, CBS Sports HQ, on who he has the Browns taken with the second overall pick.
To me, there are two guys in this draft class that I think are special grades for their respective positions. One's Abdul Carter, one's Travis Hunter Jr. Everyone knows about Travis Hunter, but I think Abdul Carter and the position he plays on the defensive side of the football, and the defensive line specifically for the Cleveland Browns, is something I'm really interested in because he gets after the passer at an elite level. And this is his first year ever doing it. The guy was an off-ball linebacker for 2 years. If you watch that game against Notre Dame, he was everywhere, whether it was against the run, whether it was rushing the passer, has a unique combination of bend, burst, to the edge to get back to the top of the pocket, create those big plays in the backfield that, if you pair him with Myles Garrett, oh my Lord, I don't want to be an opposing offense, and I just don't have a high enough grade on Shedeur Sanders to justify drafting him at number 2 overall. That's the thing here, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, is I'm in a window where I'm paying a lot of money to this roster. I need to win right now to save my jobs if I'm Andrew Berry, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, and I just don't have a high enough grade on Shedeur Sanders to say I'm plugging him in, and he's going to be the answer for us.
Spencer, he had me until he said, I have to win right now, and that shouldn't factor into it. Real life, it probably does. I'm intrigued. Yeah. I'm definitely intrigued by Abdul Carter. Can he put a little bit more weight on and still maintain that? That would be my question. But if you watched him play against Notre Dame, bad shoulder, and he ate the Notre Dame Fighting Irish offensive line up playing on a bad shoulder.
Yeah. I think the weight thing is something that teams don't really worry about. Maybe when it comes to like if it's an offensive lineman, you're trying to get the right stature. But I think generally teams believe that they can get somebody to add muscle and weight that they need to sort of play at a maybe a certain fit that they want them to. But along those lines, I'm actually glad that he mentioned this because I was sitting there watching that Notre Dame Penn State game the other night, a little less than a week ago. And I was saying this exact same stuff. Like, man, imagine this guy who, and as he was playing, I was like, his stock is just skyrocketing right now in this game. Imagine this guy paired opposite of Myles Garrett. Like, I do think, I don't know that pass rusher is the number one need for this team. Obviously, quarterback's number one. But if you take quarterback out of the equation, I don't know that it's even the second most important need for this team. I would probably say that's left tackle. Because again, this offensive line just struggled so much, you got to fill that hole. But the Renner veteran that the Browns have done with the defensive ends over the years to kind of pair somebody with Myles Garrett, you've had some success with it. It worked with Zadarius Smith the last couple of years, but it would be nice if they sort of found a young guy to pair with him. And on the other part of that too is if things go south next year and then Myles Garrett really uses his trump card of, well, I want out because we're not winning and I don't want to waste my time here anymore. You then kind of have somebody waiting in the wings to take the reins as the next great pass rusher on this team. So I've slowly but surely over the last 4 or 5 days or so fallen more and more in love with the idea of drafting Abdul Carter. So yeah, I find it interesting that everyone else is kind of getting on that train too. And it seems like it's a viable option for the Browns in terms of a position that they could address. And to me, you can't go wrong, I think, drafting like 3 things if the value is there and the talent is there, and their quarterback, their defensive end, and their corners. Like those are 3 of the most important positions on the field. You could obviously throw maybe a tackle in there as well as like a 4th, but I just think like in any draft, if you get the value at the pick that you're at for any of those players, then generally you're going to get praised for it because those are some of the most key positions on the field at any given time.
The other thing that I think is you win with elite groups. If you put Abdul Carter and you have Myles Garrett, you have Alex Wright coming back, you have Isaiah McGuire who has flashed. You have the makings of pretty special pass rush unit. And you got to get it, no matter if you're drafting, no matter where you're drafting, you're going to probably be drafting in the top 10, whether it's 2, 4, 6, whatever. You got to get an impact player with that first-round pick. He has to come in and make an impact.
Yeah, no, I think that's how you generally are going to view those guys in the first round, especially the top 10, is like, we want this person to start immediately. I think Abdul Carter could be that. I think there's other players. Travis Hunter, who I know has been mocked to the Browns in some regards, is another one that people feel like he'll be an instant, put him out, plug and play. He can play immediately and be a starter and contribute at the NFL level. Yeah, like that is 100% what you're looking for, and that's why I said like I think at those positions specifically, and those are positions that the Browns tend to value. Like they've tended to almost always take some sort of defensive end in drafts, and you see if they can develop one. They seem to always take a corner in the draft. So yeah, I think like anytime you address those needs and those roles specifically, it tends to, if you, as long as you hit on the player and you're getting the talent, like I said, it tends to be the right move or a good move for a team that's kind of in this, especially one in the situation the Browns are in, where they're trying to sort of rebuild on the fly here a little bit and try to stay competitive while also understanding they got to get younger and healthier and just more deeper on this roster.